You never truly imagine what a narcissist is capable of hiding until it's too late. It's not just subtle lies or manipulations masked as affection. We're talking about something far darker. Something that Otto Kernberg, a renowned psychiatrist and psychoanalyst, identified as the pathological core beneath the narcissist's superficial charm. This dirty secret isn't just a hidden trait. It's the root of a silent cruelty that seeps into relationships and destroys anyone who dares get too close. The scariest part? It never shows itself right away. You have to be alert to the signs no one wants to see, and few have the courage to expose. This secret isn't found in self-help books or motivational videos. It lives in the empty void inside the narcissist, cleverly disguised behind flawless smiles, calculated compliments, and perfectly simulated empathy. What Kernberg reveals, based on decades of clinical study, is that behind this facade lies a deep desperation, a structural emotional failure within the individual. And this hidden emotional collapse is so unconscious, even the narcissist can't fully recognize it themselves. It's this secret collapse that turns their relationships into emotional traps. That's where the pain settles in, and the connection that should heal quietly begins to hurt. Many victims describe an unexplainable guilt, as if they caused the chaos in the relationship. But this guilt is no accident. It's manufactured and implanted through a behavior Kernberg calls projective identification. It's an unconscious technique where the narcissist injects their own shame and hatred into you, then accuses you of carrying it. You feel like you're losing your mind, but really, you've just absorbed the imbalance they refuse to admit. This is the dirtiest secret of all. The narcissist never gets dirty themselves. Instead, they make you look like the toxic, unstable, emotionally out of control one. The cruelest part? Deep down, the narcissist knows something is wrong, but they lack the psychological strength to face it. They need someone else to carry that burden for them. Someone to scream, cry, and explode emotionally, so they can stay clean, in control, and above it all. This cruel dynamic only reveals itself when you start pulling away, when you regain your mental clarity. That's when they try to seduce, confuse, and win you back, not out of love, but out of desperation. Because without a victim, they collapse inside. In this video, you will discover why this secret buried deep within the narcissist is far more dangerous than any obvious betrayal or abuse. Drawing on the profound teachings of Otto Kernberg, we'll expose how this mechanism works, why it's so destructive, and what you can do to break free without carrying guilt that was never yours to bear. Get ready to see clearly what was hidden right before your eyes to truly understand the depth of the secret a narcissist hides. We need to dive into what Otto Kernberg called the borderline organization of their personality. This isn't just about an inflated ego or someone who's simply self-centered. Kernberg reveals something far more severe. The narcissist has a fragmented, unstable, and often counterfeit sense of identity. On the outside, they project a grandiose and seductive image. But inside, they're tormented by chronic feelings of inferiority, shame, and self-hatred. This inner conflict creates constant tension that needs to be discharged, usually onto those closest to them. The narcissist doesn't have a solid true self. Instead, they depend on an idealized, false self that only stays standing by sucking in others' admiration. For Kernberg, this psychic function results from early personality development failures, childhood trauma, lack of empathic caregivers, and unresolved emotional frustrations. The unconscious solution? To create an artificial identity that can never be criticized or rejected. But because this false self is fragile, the narcissist lives in a constant battle against anyone who threatens to expose them. And here is the dirtiest secret. They must devalue others to maintain their illusion of superiority. Manipulation isn't just a tactic, it's a psychic necessity. When someone begins to see their flaws or questions their behavior, The narcissist reacts with attack, contempt, or isolation. Kernberg calls this mechanism idealization and devaluation, a brutal swing between treating the other like a god or trash, depending entirely on the emotional usefulness that person provides. The other person isn't seen as a human being, just a mirror. And that mirror must only reflect what the narcissist wants to see. That if you confront them, set boundaries, or try to show reality, you instantly become a threat. That is the dirty secret. The narcissist feels no remorse for the harm they cause because, in their internal logic, they're just reacting to the threat you represent. The pain you feel is merely a side effect of daring to see what they desperately try to hide. That's why so many victims feel punished for something they don't even understand. Kernberg points out that often the narcissist lacks genuine empathy, only a simulated version of it. They learn to fake emotions to manipulate and control. When they cry, it's usually for themselves. When they apologize, it's for convenience. And when they show vulnerability, they're actually scouting for weaknesses to regain power. Every emotion on display is part of a performance designed to keep you trapped in their cycle. And this act is so convincing that even the smartest people fall for it. Kernberg explains one of the narcissist's deadliest strategies is the cycle of seduction and punishment. That it all starts with idealization. You're placed on a pedestal, treated as special, desired, admired. It feels like love, and that's the trap. The narcissist gives you exactly what you've always wanted to hear, exactly how you needed to feel. It's no accident, it's intentional. They observe, collect information, and use your emotional vulnerabilities to build the perfect trap. You believe you've found someone who understands you like no one else. But that's only the first phase. As you begin to build real bonds of affection, trust, and surrender, they start an invisible punishment process. Small criticisms, subtle distancing, silent treatments, cruel comparisons. What once was affection turns into confusion. Love disappears without warning, replaced by overwhelming emotional tension. According to Kernberg, this isn't a mistake or mood swing. It's a need to destroy authentic attachment. The narcissist cannot maintain real bonds. They want control, not connection. This emotional punishment serves one purpose: to keep you insecure. The more you try to understand what's happening, the more they deny, mock, or flip the blame. Kernberg highlights that this reality distortion, known as gaslighting, is a way to push the narcissist's internal pain onto you. They project onto you all the feelings they can't bear to feel themselves: anger, abandonment, inadequacy. Then accuse you of being unstable. It's as if they're saying, "See, you're the problem, not me." The dirtiest secret? Deep down, the narcissist knows you're not the problem, but they can't admit it because admitting responsibility would mean facing their own emptiness. And they simply don't have the psychic strength for that. To survive emotionally, they must destroy your confidence, chip away at your self-esteem, and make you carry their pain. Kernberg stresses this process isn't always conscious, but that doesn't make it any less destructive. The cruelty may not be premeditated, but the damage is very real. And the most painful part? After punishing you, the narcissist comes back to seduce you, reactivates the cycle, promises change, shows gestures of affection, fakes remorse. And you, confused and fragile, start believing again. Kernberg calls this superficial repair, an attempt to keep the dysfunctional bond alive, not out of love, but out of fear of losing control. This is where the victim feels emotionally trapped and exhausted, yet still hopeful. And that's exactly where the narcissist grows stronger, when you doubt your own pain. One of Otto Kernberg's most disturbing revelations is that behind the narcissist's coldness lies a latent rage that was never properly processed. This rage stems from childhood marked by neglect, criticism, or abandonment. But instead of processing that pain, the narcissist turns it into contempt for others. They don't want to love. They want to win. They want to be sure they'll never get hurt again. And to do that, they must prove to themselves they're superior to everyone else. The relationship isn't a partnership, it's a conquest. The pleasure they feel manipulating, testing your limits, provoking jealousy or insecurity isn't accidental, it's a way to reaffirm their own worth at your expense. Kernberg points out that for many narcissists, your suffering is a sign of victory. You cry? They won. You beg? They won. You lose your mind? They have power, and the more you try to make them understand how much they hurt you, the more in control they feel. That's the dirty secret. Your pain feeds their ego. This dynamic creates an environment where you're constantly tested. They provoke, ignore, cheat, disappear, watching how you react. And when you don't respond the way they want, they get angry, because to them, losing control over your emotions is an attack on their emotional authority. Kernberg shows that the narcissist needs your reaction to validate their existence. Without a mirror, without someone begging or suffering, they feel like they have no identity. That's why they always come back, not out of love, but out of psychic necessity. And the most perverse thing? The narcissist is never fully satisfied. Even when they have you under control, they remain suspicious, restless, paranoid, because the problem isn't outside, it's inside. They may have everything they wanted, but they still feel something's missing. And that's when the next target appears, the next victim, the next cycle. Kernberg points out the narcissist isn't searching for love. They're searching for a narcissistic supply, emotional fuel. And when you stop giving it, they discard you coldly. Like a broken piece they no longer want. If you feel like you're fighting an invisible enemy, you're facing a deeply damaged psychic structure that survives by dehumanizing others. This is the dirtiest secret. They don't see you as you are. They see you as what they need you to be, to keep their own illusion alive that you're not a person to them. You're a mirror. And if that mirror starts cracking, they will break you without remorse, without guilt, without looking back. It's almost impossible to imagine someone who looks you in the eye, says they love you, seems so present at times, is at the same time the cold architect of your emotional destruction. But that's the genius of the narcissist and their dirtiest secret. Otto Kernberg explains that the narcissist develops a false morality, an appearance of ethics, empathy, and compassion that's nothing but a facade. They know what to say, what to do, how to appear good. But behind that image lies a glacial void, untouched by others' suffering. This polished, seductive, witty false self is a meticulous construction, and often even therapists are fooled trying to help this kind of patient. Kernberg points out that the narcissist can even use therapy itself to manipulate, to show off, or to twist reality in their favor. They're not seeking change. They're seeking validation. They say what others want to hear just to keep control of the narrative. And if you dare confront them with deep truths, get ready. The attack will come, disguised in logical arguments or emotional blackmail. One of the narcissist's biggest traps is self-victimization. When they lose control, they switch tactics. No longer the aggressor, but the victim. They cry, accuse, lament, dramatize, and the worst part? They convince people, because they know how to trigger empathy even when they're the ones destroying everything. Kernberg emphasizes that this back and forth between dominating and victimhood isn't accidental. It's a strategy. It's designed to confuse, destabilize, and prevent the other from clearly seeing the manipulative structure of the relationship. And even if the relationship ends, the narcissist rarely leaves the scene quietly. They need to keep some kind of power, whether by provoking you with a new partner or trying to lure you back with empty promises they don't believe in. Kernberg calls this a negative bond. The narcissist prefers a toxic connection over no connection at all. They will poke, test, stalk you, not out of love, but because they need to know you still respond to them. Because for the narcissist, losing control over someone else is losing their own identity. Their mask doesn't fall like in the movies. It slips for seconds, and then snaps back stronger than ever. That's the dirtiest secret. They hide behind 1,000 versions of themselves, but none of them are real. And you, who thought you loved, who gave yourself away, end up wondering if it was all in your head. But it wasn't. You only saw what they wanted you to see. And now that you're beginning to see the truth, they will make you pay for it. Because truth is the greatest threat for someone who lives in lies. Revealing the narcissist's dirtiest secret is painful because it demands you accept something terrible. The person you loved might never have really existed. They were a creation, a performance, a trap. Kernberg warns that. Emotional freedom from a narcissistic relationship requires deep mourning, not just for the end of the relationship, but for the illusion that's been shattered. It's like waking up from a beautiful dream, only to realize you were trapped in an emotional prison disguised as romance all along. This awakening process is brutal because while you try to heal, the narcissist keeps playing the game, seducing others, faking happiness, spreading distorted stories about you. They need to destroy your reputation to protect their own victim narrative. Kernberg calls this post-relational attack, a subtle smear campaign to invalidate the pain you felt. But this is the moment when you must make the hardest choice. Don't react, don't fall into their revenge trap, because reacting feeds their game. Silence breaks the cycle that it's natural to want justice, explanations, recognition, but with a narcissist, those things never come. They don't admit fault. They project it. Kernberg highlights that directly. Confronting a narcissist rarely leads to healing. Healing happens when you stop looking for validation from them, when you realize it wasn't your fault, when you understand the problem was always within them. And the only way to win is to rebuild your emotional integrity, far from their influence. That is the real counterattack. Walk away from the game. Break the bond. Rebuild your self-esteem. Recover your clarity. And above all, promise yourself you will never again let anyone break you from within. In the name of love. Kernberg is clear. Narcissists don't change without deep intervention. And even then, few admit they need to change. Most will keep repeating the cycle, seeking new victims, new mirrors, new illusions. But you can be the exception, the one who escaped, the one who saw, the one who woke up. Now that you understand what was hidden behind that charming gaze, don't blame yourself for believing. Anyone can be fooled, especially by someone who has mastered the art of lying with their body, voice, and emotions. But now, armed with knowledge, you have something they will never have: awareness, and awareness sets you free. Otto Kernberg has handed you the key, and you can finally leave this emotional prison with your head held high, your heart healing, and your soul at peace. The truth is, escaping a narcissist's grip is not just an act of courage. It's a silent rebirth. After everything you've heard here, maybe the pain still throbs. Maybe doubts still echo inside you. But one thing must be clear. The problem was never you. The narcissist's dirtiest secret is making you believe it was. They manipulate your perception, distort your memory, and plant a guilt inside you they can never carry themselves. And now, with light shining on this darkness, you can finally begin to heal. Otto Kernberg taught us that breaking this cycle requires more than physical distance. It requires an internal rebuilding, a recovery of what was lost. Your dignity, your voice, your autonomy. You are not weak for having loved. You are human. The mistake wasn't in giving yourself. It was in losing yourself along the way. And here's the good news. There is a way back. There is rebuilding. There is a new path where you no longer have to walk on eggshells or beg for scraps of affection. There is love that doesn't hurt. There is presence that doesn't suffocate. And even if they try to come back, watch you from afar, or hint that you still belong to them, remember, those who know lies up close recognize the truth from a distance, that you've seen too much, felt too much, suffered too much to ever be a prisoner of that emotional theater again. What you've discovered here cannot be unlearned. The mask has fallen, And now, the choice is yours. You can begin again, not for revenge, but for freedom, not to prove anything to them, but to prove to yourself that you are still whole. If this video opened wounds, may it also begin to heal them. If they made you cry, may it also give you strength. You are not alone. Thousands around the world have felt this same pain, and many are rising now with awareness, clarity, and strength they never knew they had. Because the truth, no matter how painful, is the first step toward freedom. And if you've made it this far, it means something inside you has already begun to wake up. Don't stop now. Don't turn back. The worst is behind you, and the best is still waiting. If this touched your heart in any way, like this video, if you feel someone needs to hear this truth, share it. And if you want to keep receiving content with depth, truth, and care, subscribe now. Write in the comments, "I see clearly now." If this message opened your eyes, every interaction here isn't just a click. It's one more step in rebuilding who you are, and you deserve that. If this video opened your eyes to the hidden dangers of narcissistic abuse, don't keep this life-changing knowledge to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to see the truth and break free from the cycle. And if you want to continue learning how to protect your emotional health and rebuild your power, hit subscribe and join our community. Your journey to freedom and self-love starts here, and together, we can rise stronger than ever. Remember, every share and subscription is more than a click. It's a step toward healing for you and others. So don't wait. Take that step now.